7:42. Welcome back, everyone. It is the latest installment in the fight between the federal government and Harvard University. The State Department on Wednesday said that it's investigating whether the university will remain part of a government program that allows foreign nationals to take part in cultural and education exchange programs.
Harvard already has filed a lawsuit challenging $2.6 billion in federal funding cuts, and the school accuses the administration of waging a retaliation campaign after Harvard rejected demands from a federal anti-Semitism task force back in April. The State Department isn't saying why it's investigating Harvard's eligibility to take part in the exchange visitor program.
Joining us this morning, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. No surprise, we would be dipping our toe back into the legal waters here with Harvard and Trump back and forth. All right, so let's talk about this visa program. Kind of help us set the stage. How is it supposed to work? That way we can look to see if Harvard is violating any rules here.
It's supposed to work where the government allows folks to come to this country that are the brightest in the world to study at some of the best institutions in the world, like Harvard, Columbia, Stanford, any of those Ivy Leagues that you would go for. Obviously, Stanford not one of them, but the best in the world. So folks come here to do that, but they got to jump over a number of hoops to get here. What are you bringing? What field are you studying in? These are like H-1 visa carrying holders, but they're also folks that just come here to study on the short term and then they're out. Some of them come to study and then they stay to teach. So those are the types of folks that you're getting. What are the requirements for the institutions? Most of it is transparency. Reporter who's coming, go through the normal process. What the Trump administration was asking in its most recent request connected to these anti-Semitic agencies and task force that they've created are things that are typically outside, I would say, or normally outside. They're asking for protest lists, reports of students that participate in any on-campus activities that are not connected to their foreign location that they've come from, but more for their activity here. A number of them are statements like any anti-American activity, which is, oxymoron, I think, to say the least, because protest is actually American. So if you're saying that they're committing and participating in something that's anti-American activity, you'd think that if they participated in protest, you wouldn't be wanting that information, but that's exactly what they're asking for. It seems it has the appearance of, it looks like retaliatory on its face, and that's what Harvard is arguing. This is an example of Harvard saying that you can't bully me, you can't push me around. $52 billion endowment allows you to have that. Now on the other side, you have Columbia that has now decided, you know what, we will negotiate, we will work with you, we will make sure we concede and give concessions to what you're asking for these exact same things. Harvard, on the other hand, said, no, this is the hill that I'm going to fight on, and if you want to continue to fight me, we have the time to fight.
Well, we've talked about it before, a David and Goliath situation, usually like with the lawsuit with the Chargers. It's a fan against the NFL. This, as you've mentioned before, is Harvard, one of the largest endowments, if not the largest endowment in the country. How do you see this legal fight continuing to play out if you've got the federal government versus Harvard?
Goliath versus Goliath. This is
exactly.
Two giants, Clash of the Titans, whatever title you want, that this is two heavyweights slugging it out. This isn't a weight class difference where it's like, I can push you around. And President Trump, what he's done in business is that he's negotiated deals where he has leverage to make and force folks in the business sector to do what he wants. In this situation, this is an attempt to say, look, this is how I negotiate. I'm giving you an ultimatum. You don't want to comply. I'm going to force you, pressure to make you do what I want. That's worked in these other scenarios in the personal public sector. It's worked in this other companies and it's worked in these other institutions. Harvard is just not backing down, and for a number of reasons. I think their interim president, when he took over after the president stepped down, he said, well, you see, you pushed her out using this anti-Semitic approach. He's actually Jewish. He's not going to allow someone that he believes has done anti-Semitic things against his own people to now use the very thing against him. He's come out and spoken against this very issue. So he said, if you want to use anti-Semitism as your battle cry, you've picked the wrong person, because I'm someone that's been fighting for this his whole life.
Khalif, international students make up a major part of our college campuses in both the Carolinas. So what could this mean for foreign scholars at some of our research universities? Do they need to change policy? Are they on standby just waiting to see what happens here?
It's a scary time. I know a number of these folks. I've represented some of these individuals that have been wrongfully charged. We've got their cases dismissed, and in years past, they were like, wow, I don't have to worry about it. I can continue to do it. And now, separate situation, but now they're concerned, well, can I even stay here? In this situation, I've talked to those folks, and they mentioned, like, people won't come here. This isn't the only place that you can come and study. Yes, it has the bright lights, it has the ooh and the ah, but at the end of the day, I don't want to have to worry about if I'm going to come get kicked out. Some of these folks were losing their opportunity to have housing, losing their opportunity to have funding. This is problematic on a number of levels, and it doesn't help us. If you don't have the best and the brightest at your institutions researching and doing these things, someone else will have that. And so when we talk about trying to be the best at everything, right, I get the American first approach, but you still want the best. And sometimes the best may not be here, but if you can bring them here, lure them here, and then you can learn from the best, I think that helps us collectively, because now you have these American students learning from these folks. So I think at some point Harvard and because back to your question, in the federal government will come to an agreement, but it will be after millions of dollars have been spent in legal funds, and these students will be hurt in the middle with this limbo. Can I go? Can I stay? What do I need to do?
Yeah, that's really them that's kind of suffering from the legal battle as this kind of stretches on. And as always, we'll keep an eye on it. Khalif, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.